Good evening, ladies and gents. We're back here at League of Europe for round four of what's already shaping to be a thrilling Division 1 season. I am QVR Killer. With me, as was last week, as should be the case every week, the delightful pleasure I have of co-commentating with Mr. Oxide Nova. We're at Portugal, and we have got, on the evidence of last week, some proper feisty racing for the victory ahead of us.
Absolutely, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. First three races so far have been amazing. Must admit, I think China took the gravy for me, but Japan last week as well. The Asian tracks seems to have given us the best racing so far. But obviously we're back in good old Europe now. Let's see what we can do. But yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, I know Justas is the man to beat at the moment. Obviously, he's not leading the championship because he didn't have the best of results in China. But yeah, I feel like we've got a good race ahead of us, a fun track, so it should be good.
Well, let's have a look. You mentioned those races we've had so far. Let's have a look at the standings going into today's race. There's a 1 point gap between NSX Montana and Justas 12 at the top of the standings. Montana on 58, Justas on 57. Sweet Crown has had back-to-back second places, and he sits on third in the championship, 48 points. 25 for Cucumber, some way adrift. And Nathan on 20, he wasn't here last week. Jewelbream on 20 as well. Verstappen on 18. Isaac Kush on 14. Gary on 13. Connor on 13. Pease on 10. Rocco and Spine on 7. Reigning champion Campbell, his account opened last week with a 8th place finish. He has 5. Ghost Falcon and Crico on 4. And Matt 240 on just the 1. And Montana, as always, is first out on this track, which I think seems to be a bit of a Marmite track. I think some of the lower division drivers love it. I think many of the quicker drivers seem to hate it. I know QVR Nathan, who proclaimed himself the king of Portimao back on F1 2021, doesn't like it as much as he has done in the past. It doesn't seem that popular, but that probably makes it all the more entertaining for us watching on.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of traction zones that aren't really traction zones, must be said. Thankfully, it's a lot better than obviously last year, but just the kind of Montana's coming through now, over the hill, over the crest, and the lack of kind of traction there to pin the throttle down. It's not the most satisfying, but rest of the track, obviously, nice sweeping corners. So, but there's definitely worse out there. I think definitely some tracks that we all hate compared to this, but. No, yeah, I think it should be a good race. And one thing I will say about Portimao is that there should be a lot of overtaking going into turn one, which is what we need.
I think so. Maybe some dive bombs into turn 5 as well, and maybe turn 3, which would be nice. Keep an eye for that one coming out of the pits. Let's go on board, though, with NSX Montana for a lap of this. I don't know the full name of it, something International Algarve. ERT Larkin himself is actually in the Algarve right now. He could be on track for all we know. Lovely turn 1 from Montana using the curb on X. Easy to invalidate there. Open up turn 3 as much as you can. Take a wide line in. Kiss the apex. Bring it to the left-hand side quickly for turn 4 and 5. Play dare with the throttle through there over the crest of the hill. What's it through the first sector? 21.5. That is rapid from Montana. He uses all of the track to open up turn 5. Want to get on the throttle nice and early. Uses the exit there as well. 6 is a non-corner, and then 7 arrives at you very quickly. It's flat out in qualifying, just about flat out in the race as well. Cheeky little downshift Montana there, and then the tricky turn 8. You've got to wait an age to get on the throttle, and Montana, the back end stepping out of him, dips down and then up again like the roller coaster it is this track through turns 9, 10 and 11 arrive at you quickly, and again another one of those sneaky little fourth gear traction zones that you're never quite sure when you can put the throttle down. Turn 13, you want to turn in nice and early here and get on the throttle even earlier, and then 14, the car just wanders away from the apex a little bit for Montana. He opens up the exit to get on the power nice and quickly and stay to the right hand side. You can almost cut that corner to gain some speed, but you don't want to stay to the extreme right because that will slow you down. It's going to be a 15.7 to open up proceedings, and we've got QVR Verstappen just behind, coming around the long turn 15. You can tell it was originally a bit of a bike track here as Connor lowers the bar further with a 15.6. What's Verstappen going to do? He's done a 15.9, so everyone in the 15 so far as they come across the line. Yes, that's a 15.4. Look at that, as Connor has had a spin on his in-lap.
Yeah, I think Justas is the only person who really got the best out of the first laps there. I think Montana had a few moments as we saw riding on board, so definitely some more time to come out of him. But Justas, once again, as always, putting the show on from the start, getting right to the top of the timesheets. That's the man who wants to regain the championship lead that he had, of course, at the first race in Australia. So, yeah, absolutely, 15-4 at the moment. I think there's definitely more time in it. Division 1, of course, best drivers in the world, seeing who can get pole position here at Portimao. I think definitely a low 15, maybe even a 14 if somebody pulls a rabbit out of the hat. So let's see. I mean, obviously got quite a lot of drivers still not to set a lap. Sweet Crown as well, somebody to look out for. He's just about to start his lap actually. But yeah, Justas once again. I mean, what can you say about the man? He's what, 2 tenths up on Connor and Montana's obviously a further 10th behind. So again, Justas the man to beat.
Yeah, by D1 standards, that is a gargantuan gap that Justas has got. The thick end of 2 tenths per second. Yes, not Justas. Nathan's coming to the line now. He does a 15.7, nips into P3, 14 1,000s quicker than Montana. You mentioned Sweet Crown. Let's have a look what he can do through first sector. A 21.7. Quick, but nothing particularly spectacular for the Red Bull driver. Let's see how he approaches this middle sector of the lap. Now, Alp's gone in with a competitive lap as well. He's at a 15.87, all by himself on the 15.8s right now. Campbell just shy of those 15s with a 16.004 just ahead of Spine, and then a bit of a gap further back to Rocco and Gary. I know Gary's not particularly confident around this track. And I should say, there is a bit of beef going on, intra QVR beef between QVR Gary, QVR Nathan. Nathan hasn't let it go that Gary reported him for China overtake at turn 12, and Gary's not let it go that Nathan didn't tell him the correct fuel for another league's Qatar race. So no love lost between those two. I hope they battle away and bump each other with on track. But let's see what Sweet Crown can do across the line. And it's not even a 15 for the man who's third in the championship. Coming off the back of 2 podiums, I said, it's a 16.0. Nothing particularly impressive.
Surprisingly from Sweet Crown, I think realistically expecting, like I said, the last 2 races that he had finishing second. Yeah, I really expected a bit more from him. It just didn't seem like he had the car really hooked up. Obviously, 21.7 in the first sector, like you said, that's already 2 tenths behind what Montana was doing. And obviously, Montana's still a good 3 tenths off what Justas is doing. So, yeah, very interesting from Sweet Crown. I think there's still a lot of time to come from him. Rocco as well. I mean, that's somebody I think who could do a much better time than that. Obviously, we've still got some guys as well who haven't set a time yet. Obviously, the Hasses, one of the Ferraris, of course, and Martin in the Williams. So, yeah, surprising first set of laps, must admit. I think Montana, who's already on his second lap now, and Alp as well. I mean, Alp's the type of driver just kind of low-key just gets the times in, gets a good position, and obviously moves up in the race. Obviously, he was leading the race early on last time out in obviously Japan until there was that unfortunate collision with Montana. That's someone I'll be interested to see because, of course, he'll want a bit of revenge and get a much better result this week. But again, after the first laps are done, Justas just seems on a different planet really at the moment.
Yeah, it's Verstappen-esque is his season so far. I'm used to using those superlatives about Montana, but he's got a competitor. But we're watching Justas' teammate right now, Ariel Felipe, Division 2 champion, 21.8 through the first sector, even less spectacular than Sweet Crown's 21.7. It looked like he had some time on the board on the exit of turn 5 as well. Into the tricky turn 8, probably one of the hardest corners on the game, and you're never quite sure when you can put the throttle down if it's going to commit, as Tottenham Hotspur have taken the lead against Manchester United. Completely irrelevant to what we're looking at here. But let's see what Felipe can do. A 51.4 through the middle sector. That's so-so. It's okay. I don't think he's going to threaten the top 10 too much. So this is looking around a 16.4 or 16.5 perhaps for Ariel Felipe. The long exit there of turn 14. Just drop the throttle and let the car run down the hill of 16 as it falls away from you and then rises quickly over to the crest towards the DRS activation point and then to the line, and it's a 16.4, 13th place for Felipe between Gary and Krikos. We've got drivers now coming out on their second runs, least of all NSX Montana, who is down only by 15 thousandths in the first sector.
I mean, Montana, again, just not having the best first sector. Maybe this is kind of the pace that he's got in this setup. And obviously, we'll see second half of the lap now as he chucks it into the right-hander, of course, just before the really, really problematic turn 8. Let's see what kind of traction he gets from out there. Again, loses the back end slightly. Doesn't have it pinned down like we usually see from him in the past games, in the past years. So yeah, Montana at the moment doesn't seem to really have it on rails, but of course going through this long right hand, and now almost into the back once again. He's still up by 800ths of a second, but he'll have lost more time there. He's going to have to find a mountain of time, but he's
Indeed.
completely missed that apex. And this looks to me like a throwaway lap. Yes, he does back out of it. Maybe potentially going to go for a second run. Don't think he really hasn't really got the ERS to do so. So yeah, Montana once again just looking on the ragged edge, and Justas, again, the man who's really taken it to Montana this season, seems to be getting the upper hand in these early races so far, with Montana straight back into the pit lane. He's going to get a new set of tyres on and hopefully get a better lap for his third and final run.
It's uncharacteristic of Montana. We don't usually see those kinds of sections, especially in qualified. Verstappen's on a mighty lap. He does a 15.784, goes 5th place, only 5/1000ths slower than Montana, and exactly a 10th quicker, 900ths quicker than what Alp achieved. Campbell behind him, his QVR colleague, is coming round turn 7 and 8 now. He's got a couple of cars diving out of the way that will provide a bit of a source of distraction. The two Red Bulls. And I think that's Sweet Crown saying to the far left. Let's see how Campbell approaches this double right-hander of turns 10 and 11. Does he take a high line? Takes a very high line into 11, but that lets you pick up the throttle earlier. But it does band up the tyre with marbles, which could cost you a little bit of grip. Rear almost locking into turn 13 and then brings the car all the way to the left to open up 14 as much as he humanly can. He's got a teammate waiting potentially to give some slip ahead of him. No, Nathan's far too. They could have coordinated this a little bit better actually, and Campbell might have got some slip around turn 15, but not to be. 15.6, he goes P3 just ahead of his teammate, who will switch to because he's just starting his lap.
Yeah, interesting to see. Another man as well who is actually a really good lap at the moment is QVR Alp. He's actually purple in the first sector. I saw going towards turn 1, he actually got a brilliant slipstream from his teammates, so interested to see what he can do as well. But at the moment, yeah, time's coming in thick and fast. We're on P3 for Campbell, like you say. Mercedes 3rd and 4th at the moment. I'm sure they'll take that. A good position for them to be in. Just seeing what Alp can do at the moment as well as he comes through the last few corners. It looks like he's done a purple middle sector as well, but of course we do know that can glitch occasionally on the game, so we will be able to see now as he goes across the line what time he'll do. But for Alp at the moment, he's a good first sector, purple from anyone, good middle sector as he comes across the line now. Potentially could have a time that could put him towards the top of the table. Let's see what he can do. He goes across the line now. It's a 15.5, under a 10th behind Justas, but again, Justas with that amazing first lap just cannot get beaten at the moment.
Yeah, a cracking lap though from Alp. He did fall away from him a little bit in the second and third sector. Let's see what Nathan can do. He's up by over a 10th. That'll put him on the coattails of NSX Connor, who's in P3. He's only on an outlap right now. So Connor delaying his second run. Let's see what Nathan can do as he comes to the line now, staying a little further to the left than Alp did across the line, but he improves only by 500ths. In fact, stays behind Campbell. He lost some time in sector 3. Let's have a look at Cucumber. He comes through the first sector. He's up by 3/4 of a 10th. So a good opening sector for Cucumber. Is anyone else improving up there? I think Sweet Crown's just gone across the line, yeah. Justas improving. Let's look at Justas as he's coming through the second sector. Up by 3/1000ths is Justas, and he's got his teammate ahead of him. He's going to get some slip through the last corner from Ariel Felipe. This could be a stroke of genius from the Alpines. I think he's too far back, actually. I don't think Felipe's played this quite right. And in fact, Justas is going to come into the line because he's not improving. So let's go back to Cucumber. Sweet Crown had just improved. Cucumber's up by nearly 2/10 of a second here. This will take him towards Verstappen. There's a bit of a gap there between Verstappen and Sweet Crown in the timings. Let's see now as Cucumber has just the last corner to navigate, and there's no time in this corner. It's just flat out to the floor all the way around 15, and then just place it for the slingshot to the line. It's a 15.6. Goes 4th as Cucumber. A cracking run for the two Alfa Romeos. They're now 3rd and 4th. They've displaced both Mercedes as Connor's now starting his lap, is he? Well, no, he's finishing his lap. He's done a 15.567.
Absolutely. Noah's Ark in the second and third row at the moment with the Alfa Romeos and Mercedes-Benz. Montana once again on another lap as well. Looks like he's gone purple in the middle sector, so let's see what he can do as he comes across the line as well. This will be his final lap. Third set of tyres that he's used, and this is the only opportunity he's got now to get more towards the front of the grid. Again, Montana doesn't need to qualify towards the front to win a race. We saw that in China, but this is something that he's going to want to get fixed and fixed quickly. Goes round the final corner now, guns it towards the line. Is he going to be able to get pole position taken away? No, he can't. It's only P6, a 15.6, and that is not the qualifying once again that Montana's going to want. Justas still in the pit. He doesn't need to set another lap at the moment by the sounds of it, because nobody else can get anywhere near him really. But of course he will come back out. Connor, like you say, went up to P3 in the Alfa Romeo, but Montana again, it's just not really. he just doesn't have what he seems to usually have, that kind of killer instinct and that qualifying that no one can get to. But maybe it's just because everybody else come towards him. But at the moment, he can't quite get there.
I'm so intrigued at how Montana's going to respond being front end of the field, but not at the pointiest of that end. I think it's not a situation he's been in before. He had one season where he was behind Alphatrix and Louis Welch, now of PSGL, of course, the latter, where he was kind of third best behind those two, but no one bothered him behind. This is like real back to the wall slug of a season. This is going to be for Montana if he wants to win this title. It's not going his way at all. I'm surprised he's not had any slipstream actually from his teammate NSX Spine, who has just come into the pit. Spine invalidated his lap up at turn 8. And Montana, if he's picked the softer tyre option, he will be able to go again. But it means, of course, he'll have no fresh softs available if a late safety car were to swing his way. And it seems like it's going to be all dry in the race. So those soft tyres could be put to use if you keep a fresh set. But I think Montana's going to have to put his cards on the table here and go for that fourth set of softs if he has indeed picked that selection. It's going to be our first for our last lap. It's going to be the two McLarens. Maledictus making his D1 return, and QVR Alp is going to be our first front runner to go for that final lap.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there as well. Obviously, Montana, he's not really been in this position much before, and let's not forget, like, obviously, yes, there's going to be a lot of times where people are taking points away from each other because it's just so competitive at the front. But at the moment, Justas just seems a little bit ahead of everybody else. So if he stays robotic at the top, Montana is going to have to be the person who can be in second place and wait for Justas to make mistakes, or Justas not have the best of races, but he just can't do that at the moment. So yeah, very interesting to see what they can do. Like you say, the McLaren's line of stern going towards the back end of the circuit now, and I think they're definitely working together here. We saw Alp, of course, get a slipstream in his previous lap, so as they start the lap now, the McLarens, he will get another lovely slingshot out the final corner, the final real corner, and get that slipstream from his teammate, of course, like you say, making that return to the lead.
Shout out to Maledictus. He's a real one as a teammate because he's going to settle for 19th in this session in order to give Alp the slipstream he needs. It's perhaps not quite as perfect as it could have been, but Alp just touching 324 kph there into turn 1, and that was sweetly done on the apex. The back end sticking with him just about with the extra speed, and then almost a rear lock into turn 3. He kept the car to hand and then aggressive through 4 over the crest using the inside curve. It's a 21.4 through sector 1. He's not gained any time from that slipstream. He's lost time, in fact. So maybe those little rear slides not quite working to his advantage. But he's still going for this lap, so maybe he feels he's got time through sectors 2 and 3. But it's a big mountain to climb for Alp if he wants to get pole position here. I dare say he's lost the opportunity with that first sector. Well, let's see what his splits look like now as he comes through turns 10 and 11. He's had an awful amount of traffic to negotiate. It's all got out of the way, but it doesn't stop the fact that it's incredibly distracting. He's gained half a tenth back through the middle sector. 50.791 is the split time. Turn 13, 14 and 15 to navigate these never-ending corners all the way to the left of the track, really opening up 14 there, and then there's nothing he can do but pray now as he comes through 15. Perhaps he's got just enough time in pocket, or is he going to come into the pits? No, he's going to the line. He must be improving. What's this going to be? It's a 15.5. No, he was still half a tenth down in the end. Campbell's just started his lap. Nathan, though, is the furthest along. He's up by 16 thousandths through the second sector. He's now got 13, 14 and 15 to navigate. This looks tidy from Nathan. The back end not complaining. He's getting the car nice and turned in. The front end looks pointy. And this could be a good lap from Nathan. If he can get back ahead of Montana, that would be a massive result for him.
Absolutely, you're right. And like you mentioned before, Montana is actually on another lap, and he's just gone up in the first sector as well, only by 300ths per second. But as he comes across the line, Nathan, P2, only, half a tenth off of Justas. So a great lap from him. He'll be very happy with that. Montana, like I said, is up. But of course, we have cars coming to the line all the time now. We have the sister Alpine coming across the line now as well, actually, of Felipe, I believe, going through there. But at the moment, the man that, of course, we want to be looking at is Montana, see what he can do with those times. But like I say, at the moment, no one really seems to be focusing on getting that pole position. It just seems like it's Justas who actually starts his lap now. And going through turn 1, again, it just looks absolutely planted for the Alpine there, going towards this nice height. Always, Justas actually loses the rear end, so I don't think this is a lap where he'll improve. But let's see what Montana can do as he comes around the final corner now, comes towards the line. He's going to be the crucial corners for himself. Not sure if he's up in the middle sector, but if he is, he's going to have to gun it to the line now and see if he can improve on 7th place.
He's up by 600 through the second sector. So as you say, just that gun it to the line now. Checkered flag is out. Montana manages a 15.6. It's only good enough for P5. Connor has dropped it somewhere. Cucumber is invalid. Campbell didn't improve. We've already seen Alp's last effort and Nathan's last effort. So that is, I think, pole position for Justas. All of his challenges have fallen by the wayside here. Let's have a look further down. Gilbream's not improving. Verstappen's not improving. Sweet Crown is coming round the last corner now. Through turn 14, there's an Alfa Romeo getting out of his way through the polystyrene boards. No improvements that I can see at all on this last dash line. Let's see what Sweet Crown does. He improves by half tenth, doesn't get him in places. He stays P11. Rocco's not improving. Cricco's not improving. Ben JS down in P19 is up by a tenth and a half. So that's going to be our last competitive effort of the day. It's Justas and Nathan on the front row. Alp and Connor on row 2. Montana and Cucumber down on row 3. And then D1 reigning champion Campbell in P7. But we'll follow Ben JS to the line in P19 right now. Can he lift that Ferrari off the back row? He was up by over a tenth. Can he beat Felipe out? He goes to P17 with a 16.2. Gary will be very disappointed that he's not broken to the 15s. But other than that, I think the shock of that, to me, is Montana, only P5. I know we've said multiple times he's not the quickest, but still, row 3 on pure pace is something we are not used to seeing from that man.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because his qualifying hasn't been top-notch this season. Of course, his racecraft, as always, has been good, but he just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct like he's had in previous seasons. Another man as well that really will be disappointed, of course, is Sweet Crown in P11. A man who seemed on form, really, of course, made a brilliant move around the outside of Montana last race out in Japan for second place. Doesn't even get in the top 10 here in qualifying. So, yeah, not the race that he's going to... sorry, not the qualifying he's wanted either, but again, Justas, just a world apart from everybody else. Realistically, a tenth of a second, it doesn't seem a lot, but of course in D1, that's a massive amount of time.
Well, let's run through the full grid. I didn't realise how close Nathan and Alp were. Jesus, 3 1,000ths of a second between them. Yes, that's on pole in the end by only 800ths, but his first lap in the end would have been good enough for pole position. Nathan second, Alp third, then Connor, Montana, Cucumber, Campbell, Gilbream, Verstappen and Spine complete the top 10. Top 10 within 4 tenths per second, not too shabby at all. So the Sweet Crown 11th, Mohammed on row 6, Izzat and Gary, that's a fun combination on row 7. Rocco and Cricco, then Ben JS and Felipe. To Brit D2 promotees on row 9, and then Marty and Maledictus, who sacrificed his last run for his teammate, who didn't end up improving anyway, complete the grid. And we've got a dry race ahead of us, and it's worth noting strategy here. All 3 tyres are usable. Softs, really, you want to have a fresh set. If you've scrubbed them a little bit, they don't give you the ultimate performance that you need in the first couple of laps, and they aren't as worthwhile of a tyre. I think we'll see a mix here. I think we're going to see all 3. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think we'll see all 3 tyres represented on the starting grid. I think we'll see some softs, I think we'll see some mediums, and we'll see some hards. On paper, hard medium is the fastest strategy, but if you've got fresh softs, there's no reason why you can't do hard soft or even medium soft. But the trouble is with the softs is, although they are very usable for about 12, 13 laps, and it is a 33-lap race, once they fall off cataclysmically. So, but I do think we'll see a proper mix. For anyone who's out of position, feels like they can do something from the lower echelons of the grid, like Gary and Izzat maybe, I think a soft tyre is definitely worth plumping for. Sorry for rambling, I was just filling this interlude while we wait to see what tyres everyone's on. And we have got all 3 tyres represented on the grid.
Interesting, and also interesting, Justas, of course, on the soft tyres too. And I believe, obviously, the guys through the top 3 obviously on the softs as well, but then obviously you see 4th, 5th and 6th. Hard tyres, so it's going to be very interesting actually. I think this race, I mean, we saw this in China a few races back. The guys at the front really put those soft tyres on because they wanted to, get away from the chasing field, and they did do so, and it meant Montana really fell back into the pack on them hard tyres, but of course came through to win the race when the conditions changed. So I don't know if that's going to be something that we're going to see again, in the sense of, Montana fall back, because he just doesn't seem, compared to Cucumber, and actually once again it was Connor actually at the time too, he just doesn't seem to have the pace on the hards that they do usually in the race. But yeah, very interesting to see. I think one thing we can all agree on that I think we like about this game is the fact that we can actually see all three types of tyres now being used, because last year it was impossible, couldn't do it, or at least you could, but it wouldn't be the fastest strategy. So no, I'm really excited for this one. I think we've got some good strategy ahead of us, and obviously Justas wants to get another dominant victory, but hopefully we've got some drivers who want to get that as well.
Well, you mentioned, I think we've got a really interesting dynamic that you alluded to, the top six, where the top three are on 2 compounds softer than the next three. It's interesting how big a breakaway that's going to be. I think Montana was planning to start softs, but having to use all 4 in qualifying kind of scuppered those plans, and he's now gone for hard. He'll probably go hard medium, in my guess. We've had 2 winners so far. Justas winning in Australia and Japan, Montana winning in China. Could we see, realistically, a 3rd winner today, or do you think Justas has this covered?
It's definitely possible. One thing I will say, Justas, he doesn't usually have the best of starts. In the last 2 races, he's not led into turn 1. So, yeah, if Nathan get a good start, or Alp as well, who had a brilliant start last time out, it definitely will make it harder for him. Definitely could make it harder for him, as we obviously see the drivers come up to the line now. He's not going to have it all his own way, but who knows at this point? His Q-Camera actually gets disqualified, but the race is about to happen. Let's hope we can get a good race happening.
I'm confident we will, as Maledictus takes his place on his return to LOE at the back of the grid, and it's Justas and Nathan on the front row with Alp and Connor in behind. Montana's a fish out of water down in P5. It's the Portuguese Grand Prix in LOE D1, and we are underway. And that looked like a slightly better start for Nathan. They're side by side into turn 1. Contact between himself and Justas, who covers him off into turn 1. How brave is Nathan going to be? He surges up the inside. Justas holds on around the outside. They're still wheel to wheel as they come towards turn 3. Nathan on the inside, Justas on the outside. The Alpine will have the inside for turn 4 as they rise over the hill, and he reclaims the lead as Nathan slips back into 2nd place. Alp's up into 4th. Campbell's had a cracking start into 5th. Montana down in P7. As we've got 3 wide in the background with Mohammed, Julbream and Spine into turn 5. Spine goes up the inside on those medium tyres, loses it a little bit on traction, almost some contact there with Julbream behind him, but that was a nice, tidy start for everyone involved. Nathan, couple of times there, looked like he was about to get the lead. Couldn't pull it off. As behind them, Connor almost having a sluggish run through turn 8. And Alp waiting to pounce there as he's forcing. Oh, and he dives up the inside of the hard shot Alfa Romeo and makes that lunge stick. And look at Campbell as well as they come down the hill. Can he have a go on those soft tyres into turn 13? He's daring and deep on the brakes. Connor doesn't have the grip to fight back, I think. Campbell's through. The soft tyres have done their magic on this opening lap as behind them. Montana is having to fend off the advances of Verstappen now, who's coming around the outside of 14 through 15. And I think Verstappen might just have that one done. And Montana slips back to P8 after starting the lap in 5th place as Nathan goes for the lead on the start of the 2nd lap here.
Going towards turn 1 now, looks like Nathan, he's easily got that move done. I mean, once again, not the best of starts from Justas initially off the lines. We see Gary actually down the inside of Julbream as well going towards turn 1. But again, I mean, it's a cushion already, a 3-second timer. That's not something he's going to want to see. But Nathan had a brilliant start, as he did in China, and he gets the lead off Justas, who just didn't seem to get the initial getaway. Obviously, had that bit of contact. Montana once more again, as we see actually the Alpha Tauri going down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, Verstappen on the inside of Cucumber gets the move done. This goes to show just how much quicker those soft tyres are than the hard tyres are, of course, 2 steps harder, like you said before. But again, Montana drops back to P8, not the best start for himself. Justas, though, he doesn't really fight QBR Nathan into first position, which kind of lets him through, because I think he's realising, looking at Nathan now, as you see, already pulling a bit of a gap. He just seems a little bit quicker at the moment than Justas, but I think seems to be settling down at the moment. The soft runners are really going to try and get away, of course, from the hard shod cars now, but I'll be interested to see if Connor can keep Verstappen behind. I don't think he'll be able to as he goes through the final corner, but again, as Nathan leads, we wanted a good race and a nice exciting race to watch, and now I think we've got one.
Yeah, top 4 have strung themselves out a treat from their point of view, less so for ours, as Connor is the lead hard runner in P5. He's a bit of a cork in a bottle, but I think Verstappen's going to dispatch him with relative ease as they come down towards turn 1 now. DRS enabled as they'll get it towards turn 5 as Campbell passes Alp into turn 1 but then runs wide on the exit. That'll be a warning for the Scot. And Connor can do nothing to fight back Verstappen, as we've now got our timing tower has sorted itself out. DRS in effect as Gary he's the one making moves right now. He's passed Julbream, he passed was it Sweetcrown the last lap, and now he's going to have a go on the soft tyres at the back of Spine on the inside of turn 5, late on the brakes. he'll have better grip and better traction on those soft tyres. I think Gary has got the move done. Indeed, he has, up into 10th place now. Let's have a look at the position changes. Gary's up 4, Mohammed up 3, up 4 for Verstappen and Campbell. They're the big gainers, those QVR lads, plus ET8 Mohammed as well. And Nathan, obviously, crucially, up 1. But it is a big one, because it means he's got a 1 next to his name in the position right now. And Campbell, 1.3 seconds off the back of Justas. Top 4 have really, top 5, sorry, have strung themselves out. Connor, just about by his fingernails, is clinging to Verstappen's DRS. So I say that, it just dipped over a second. Is it going to stay that way as they come across the detection point? If Verstappen's got any sense, he'll put his ERS on, and I think he did. And our soft runners have now very much, in terms of ERS and DRS, checked out from the hard runners behind them. Is that second penalty of the day already, as the Alfa Romeo switch places into turn 1?
I think that was a very easy move from the Alfa Romeos there. Didn't really want to cause each other to lose any time. But again, as we saw in China, Montana on those hard tyres, not the best of start for him. And he's dropped back compared to the 2 hard cars in front of him. But at the moment, actually, Connor is now under attack from Montana. Will Montana try and go down the inside into the hairpin here? Inside. But at the moment, like I say, something battling up front.
No, it was nearly contact at the other end of the grid between Izzat and Marty. Izzat nearly swiping the back of Marty. Not his fault. Marty was slow off turn 4, coming onto that DRS straight, and they narrowly avoided an absolute airplane crash there. But still, the man on the move is QVR Gary. He's 3 tenths behind ET8 Mohammed, but now he's called himself in a DRS train. I think he's going to struggle to make the advances that he made early on. As the top 2, are continuing to stretch their legs. Now 2 seconds that Campbell is behind Justas. He's lost another 7 tenths per second on this lap. And Cucumber's lost another tenth or so to Verstappen. He's now 1.4 back. Let's see if Justas can do anything down the line. Let's have a look at where the telemetry stands. 78% for Justas, 27 for Nathan. Excuse me, there as Justas pulls out as I sneeze into the lead. Nicely done from the Alpine.
Absolutely, but let's see if Nathan can go back down the inside. Doesn't look like he's going to try it. No, I mean, looking at Nathan as well, he's used all his ERS to try to stay in front, of course, of the Alpine. But maybe it's that game now. It's a 3rd time penalty already. But again, Nathan down the inside, he's using all his ERS to get back through. He wants the glory of being in first place, and he's got it back again. Well, this is going to cause him a lot of issues, because as they push and keep going further ahead, Justas has got so much more ERS. It's going to be easy for himself to stay in front, as Alp is really stuck behind Campbell now in the McLaren, and of course we've got Verstappen directly behind him as well, who had a brilliant start going up to P5. And again, another man who had brilliant races last time out and the race before, Sweet Crown, down into 13th.
Yeah, he's been nowhere today. Not surprised though. He's been playing Madden 24, which I've been enjoying myself as well. So there's been no practice for me for D2. I'm sure Sweet Crown's in a similar situation for D1. Verstappen, you mentioned, it's very close to the back of Alp, but his problem is that Alp has got some lovely DRS off the back of Campbell. So whatever latent pace Verstappen has, he can't really exploit it too much. He's pulled his gap on Cucumber by another tenth this lap, but we've reached the point where the soft tyres will fall away a little bit in terms of pace. Justas is going to take the lead back from Nathan towards turn 1. They're just trading places there, and Alp passes Campbell as well this time, as third place swaps hands, and Verstappen will be a little bit frustrated, I think, watching those guys in from P5, knowing that he's probably quicker than at least one of them right now. 1.4 back to Cucumber. Cucumber is showing some good pace. He's got no DRS, but he's starting to hold those leaders ahead of him in as Nathan retakes the lead into turn 5. Almost a non-event here. It's happening so much every lap. Have we got any other close competition? We've got Marty and Izzat round God knows what for P16 down at turn 5. And they've cut themselves off from the field there, but they seem happy enough in each other's company, so who are we to deny them that? Nathan leads by 3 tenths of a second.
I won't be surprised again to see Justas go down the inside towards turn 1. I think they're kind of playing the game at the moment, using each other, of course. They've had the exact same moves happen on each other 2 laps in a row now, so wouldn't be surprised if we see Justas take the lead into turn 1, then followed up by Nathan getting the lead again into the hairpin of turn 5. But at the moment as well, seeing Alp as well, he's kind of trying to push away from that of Campbell. We'll see if Campbell gets a good enough slingshot off the final corner, but I think it's going to be Verstappen actually gets the overtake done. As yes, we see Justas go into turn 1 in first now. Verstappen though, he's not actually using any ERS, so he's not. No, yeah, he lifts off definitely. He's not trying to get ahead, but who this is going to help, of course, is the hard runners behind, who realistically at this stage knew they were going to fall back, but they're not falling back too much from third, fourth, and fifth. Turn 5 as well now.
Spine has just passed Gary, and Cucumber's really caught up to Verstappen. I think that is testament to what you just said, that the soft tyres are starting to go away. Now Julian's passed Gary as well. Those places he made early doors, Gary's now handing them back like sweets that he's stolen from a sweet shop, and he's been told off by his parents, and now he's giving up all the sweets as he goes very wide at turn 8, and he's leaving himself vulnerable to Sweet Crown now. But yeah, look at Cucumber now. He was 1.5 seconds. He's now 1 second, less than a second behind Verstappen.
The tyres are changing now. I think the hards are really starting to pull towards the softs. Like you said, you mentioned it earlier in qualifying. The softs, they just kind of turn into chewing gum after a few laps. And I think that's what we're seeing now, because look at that, Cucumber, he's only 6 tenths behind now. He actually almost loses it coming out the final real corner, second to last corner on the track. But no, absolutely, I think it's getting to that point now where the hard tyres are going to slowly but surely become quicker than the really undurable softs as we go towards turn 1 now. Let's see if anybody makes any moves, but I don't think they are doing currently. But I would not be surprised if we see Cucumber, Connor and Montana starting to slowly but surely come towards the guys in front of them.
As Benedis passes Rocco for P13 there in turn 1. Benedis, one of 2 drivers who started on the medium tyres, and Martin Izzat are at it again into turns 1 and 2. Izzat thought about setting to turn 3. Marty's doing well to stay in this fight long enough on the soft tyres compared to Izzat's hards, which will be feeling a lot nicer right now, and Izzat weaving his way out of turn 4. Alp, Campbell and Verstappen can do an absolute solid for Justas and Nathan here. If they hold up the progress of the 2 Alfa Romeos and Montana, then Justas and Nathan will have really got everything from the soft stint that they needed. They've got a 3-second advantage over Alp. Izzat gets his 4th penalty of the day. That's going to do absolute bits for them if those guys behind can just hold up the NSX crew. It's QVR versus NSX, isn't it, from P3 down to P8. And if they do slow them up, I think that's Justas and Nathan locked in for turns 1 and 2, because those hard runners are going to be too far behind them now to catch them up later when they have the better tyre.
Yeah, you're right there. I mean, again, looking towards it now, it looks like it's kind of like they're not really pulling any closer, but I think because now, of course, Cucumber is within that DRS, we are going to get another DRS train, no real overtakes going on, but he's not really pushing his DRS, he's only got 13% left, so he's not using any at the moment, so not closing in too much. At the front, of course, Justas and Nathan separated by absolutely nothing once again, but kind of just keeping that progress together now. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens with these hard tyres, because the softs, if they're going to want to move on to the mediums, of course, they will have to come in soon, probably about lap 10 or 11, I would assume. But if they're going to hard, they could come in slightly earlier. As we see, actually, the Alfa Romeo of Cucumber goes really wide out the hairpin, and that's put Connor on his tail. But at the moment, like we say, the soft runners at the front having an easy time of it, but they are going to slowly but surely fall back into the guys behind.
Yeah, they've pulled another half a second or so since I said of Justas and Nathan on QVR Alp. So Alp is really a bottleneck here. Campbell can't seem to do too much about him, nor can Verstappen. I think they realise it's in their interest just to hold position, because they're going to lose more time squabbling and potentially invite the NSX guys in for an overtake more than they already would if they just keep it safe and clean here. They don't need to fight each other. They know that they've just got a whole track position now. Get onto the harder tyre or the medium tyre early, get an undercut, and then be ready to fight off later on. And I say that Verstappen has got a good run on Campbell here, but he's not using his ERS, so he is just holding position. And I think that's a very sensible strategy from these guys. They'll know they're losing time to Nathan, but so long as they're not under threat from Cucumber, Connor, Montana, I think they're just about fine, as Spine in P10 is our now highest runner to pick up a penalty.
Yeah, I think you're right now. I think Verstappen's realising, of course, if he starts battling with the cars in front, with Campbell, with Alp, it's just going to lose everybody time. So he's playing the long game here, and I think that's the right thing to do. Again, the hard runners, yeah, they closed in quite closely, but they're kind of just sticking within that 8th, 10th, 9th, 10th area now behind the softs up front. So again, Nathan now 3.5 seconds ahead of Alp, so it is Justas and Nathan out front. They're going to hope, like you said, that they get a bit of help from the guys behind. Of course, Nathan definitely will from his QVR colleagues, and hope that he gets a bit of help from them to keep Cucumber, Connor and Montana behind, or at least hold them up as much as possible. But yeah, the field starts to kind of slow down, spread out a little bit. But I think the real thing to look at, like we've been mentioning, is that of Alp, as we see Martin Hitzkos once again trading positions. But again, looking at Alp, Campbell and Verstappen, seeing how long they can stay ahead of Cucumber, who is just kind of stuck within that 8/10 gap behind as we go towards turn 1 with the leaders, and there's some changes up front.
Yeah, gap now 3.8 seconds. They're continuing to just eke it out little by little. And Alp about as close as Campbell has been to the back of him as Gilbert retires in the pit lane. And these three are really very close together right now. I think that they're going to be getting a little bit... what's the word? As I've got an audio glitch. How lovely. A little bit tetchy, perhaps, the closer Cucumber and Connor get in. But you mentioned it last lap. Cucumber can't seem to stick more than 7 or 8 tenths closer to Verstappen for any prolonged period of time as Sweet Crown passes Gary into turn 5. Felipe passes Crico. Sorry, Crico passes Felipe at turn 3. But Gary, it's not worked out for him, those soft tyres. It worked out early on, and now it's not working out for him because he's lost a place to Spine, he's lost a place to Sweet Crown, he lost a place to Mohammed as well. So all those places he gained, he's lost. But he's sticking with the train. Actually, no, he's not, because Sweet Crown is 2.5 seconds adrift. The back half of the field has become quite detached. Who's not detached, though, is NSX Cucumber. He is now as close as he's been coming onto that back straight. And again, as I say that, curse the commentator, his back end does a big happy wiggle there out of turn 14.
Yeah, it'll be interesting now to see if actually anybody makes moves. Campbell, he's got a bit of ERS to play with as well. Will he try and get past Alp? I don't think he is doing. No, again, he comes off the throttle. I mean, if I was him, I'd be feeling really claustrophobic in between them. His Spine gets down inside of Mohammed towards turn 1 as well. But yeah, if I was Campbell right now, I'd be feeling where... Oh, is he actually almost lose it? Yes! And actually, Verstappen actually got to go over the curb there. That's pulled the field so much closer together. Campbell almost loses it going in towards turn 3, and that's meant that the cars behind are right on them. Let's see if Cucumber tries to get any closer. No, he doesn't go for a move at all. He's not quite there. But the hard runners are there now, and this race is really hotting up for P3.
Yeah, we've still got that split, haven't we? 3 drivers on the soft, 3 drivers on the hard, and it's still the soft tyres running ahead of the hard tyres. But I think we're in the territory now where we're going to see a pit stop in the next lap or so from at least one of these drivers. The 2 Alfa Romeos are very close together through turns 9 and then up to 10 and 11 as Campbell's pushing Alp through turn 11 as well. They are literally like roller coaster cars strung together, chattering away as they go up and down the elevation and undulation of this Portimao track. Are one of our leaders going to come into the pits? It's Justas from Nathan. It's been that way for a while now. They're now over 4 1/3 seconds clear of Alp behind. Nathan is pulling out of the slipstream. He doesn't want to overtake Justas as Alp comes into the pits. Campbell comes into the pits, and Verstappen is going to find himself very, very vulnerable for the next lap or so.
Absolutely, and they start to see now the hard runners really start to use the ERS. Look at Connor, look at Montana, they've got a full battery to use and they're starting to use it now. So let's see if Cucumber can actually keep these guys ahead, because he's not got what it takes really with the ERS. Verstappen though...
Nathan's going for the lead.
Oh, he is. He's going for the lead actually down the inside. Is he going to take it? Yes, he does. Nice clean move from them. Justas understands he's got too much to lose to fight this. But yes, he's not really trying to go for it around the outside. Is he? Surely not. So wasn't it? No, he doesn't. He tucks in behind. But yeah, no, like we say, Cucumber, of course, is right behind Verstappen now. Let's see if Verstappen can pull away. I mean, Cucumber, realistically, he's actually dropped back ever so slightly from Verstappen, since Verstappen doesn't have DRS in front. So maybe, just maybe, he was actually being held back by Alp and, of course, by the Mercedes of QVR Campbell. Let's see though, because Montana and Connor are going to start to use this ERS, of course, start to push and see what they can do.
So everybody's pitted so far. That's Campbell, that's Alp, that's Gary, that's Izzat, have all gone for medium tyres. So no one wanting to go near the hards at a pit stop. Izzat started on hards. It's surprising that he's already made a stop for mediums. He could have taken his hards a little longer, waited for a safety car or goal hang or something. Let's see if Izzat pits, Nathan pits, Justas pits. Verstappen isn't been threatened this lap at all, but he is coming into the pits now. They're all going to go for some medium tyres, I am sure. I think Nathan made that move because he knew he was coming to pits this lap. So pit lap, Nathan knew that was his cue to get a shift on. Looked like he was held there, but the game just glitching away and keeps his lead over Justas. They've all gone for medium tyres. as Verstappen comes into the pits there. So it's going to be our hard runners leading the way. So we'll go on gap to leader, and we'll see how that evolves. And our first pitter is Nathan coming out into turn 1 now. He is 18.5 seconds off the back of Cucumber, off the lead. We'll see how that gap evolves over the next couple of laps. But we've got an interesting dynamic now, haven't we? Outpinning a lap earlier, he's closer to Justas than he was. There's only 2 seconds now between them, 2.2 seconds. Campbell's there as well. Verstappen has fallen adrift by doing that extra lap. He's 2 seconds off the back of Campbell. He's going to have a bit of a slug for the rest of this race. But how do you see this shaking out now in terms of... We've obviously got Nathan, Justas, Alp, Campbell. They're all on quicker tyres now. They'll take chunks of time out of the Alfa Romeos and the Aston Martins, but they're going to have slower tyres at the end of the race. Which way do you think this is going to go?
It is going to be really interesting, because of course usually we have that offset of hard to mediums towards the end of the race, but what it looks like it's going to be is everybody on mediums, but of course the guys like Cucumber, Connor, Montana just have so much fresher tyres. As we actually see Connor going for the race lead now, and he actually gets down the inside, doesn't actually get fought too much, and he's now leading this race. He's using some of his ERS, so potentially he's coming into the pit sometime soon to put some medium shod tyres on. I would not be surprised to see that if that was the case. We've seen Nathan go down the inside, and Justas as well, actually, down the inside of Marty as he goes into the pit lane. Alp again sets the fastest lap, 18.4. He's closing that gap to the cars in front. He's only, 1.9 seconds behind now. Maybe he's been come alive since he's put these medium tyres on. Let's see if he can push Justas and Nathan. But at the moment, yeah, I'd be interested to see Montana, Cucumber, Connor, what pace they've got.
Oh, contact.
As there's a bit of contact, like you say. But the more pace they have, of course, the more they can bring in the future.
Crico just banging the back of Felipe in the middle of turn 1. Gary, Felipe and Crico were all very close to each other, and they just concertinaed a little bit. Crico just gave a love tap to the back of the Alpine. I don't think he would have got any damage from it, but it was a light touch, but it was about as much contact as we've had at any point in this race. So, gap to leader. Nathan's 15.8 now. He's taken 3 seconds out of Connor since he came out of the pits. Connor's going to find himself, at the moment, I'd say on course to be about 8 or 9 seconds behind Nathan by the time he comes out, and that gap could only grow from where we are right now. I think the Alfa Romeo is going to do the switching act again towards turn 1. No, they're not. Cucumber's just a little too far back. They're dragging Montana with them nicely, although Montana hasn't really looked like he's even had a whiff of threatening the back of one of those Alfa Romeos. Benjes is into the pits from P8. Nathan's now 14.5 seconds off the lead. That man is absolutely flying right now. That's 4 seconds in 2 laps he's taken out of Connor. And it just shows you the drop-off on the hard tyres versus a fresh medium undercut. And this is going to be it's going to be Need for Speed hot pursuit for those Alfa Romeos in Montana when they come out the pits, because they are going to be so far back from these guys. If they're not careful, they leave it out much longer, they could even come out behind Gary. They're going to be well behind Verstappen. Verstappen is almost caught up to the gap behind Connor that Nathan was when Nathan came out the pits. They're going to have a lot of overtaking to do if they want even a podium today, let alone a race win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it's getting to the point now as well where if they keep pushing as they are doing, obviously, if they keep going around the track and just keep going round and round and pounding around, yes, they can get to that point of maybe potentially putting soft tyres on. But if you leave it too late, like you say, you're going to be stuck behind people. You're not going to have enough time to actually get the moves done and catch up. So interesting to see what's going to happen now. Montana's still not using his ERS. He's not thinking of going into the pits anytime soon. One person who is, though, is NSX Spine as he comes in the sister Aston Martin to Montana. He comes into the pits now, and that's put, of course, Sweet Crown up to P5. Again, running a really lonely race. Interesting to see what he'll be able to do. But Justas and Nathan coming through the line now, and looking at this, I mean, look at Nathan. He's right in the back of Rocco already, and he is so much quicker than the cars in front. Rocco really holding him up, actually, at the moment as well. Surely he'll get past on this DRS straight, but yeah, like you say, with Nathan and Justas, Alp, Campbell and Verstappen on those tyres, pulling them in so quickly, it'll be really interesting to see what those cars up front could do.
Nathan's taken another 2.5 seconds out of Connor in the last lap and a bit alone. It's now 11.7 between them. He's taken nearly 8 seconds out of Connor in 3.5 laps. It's a remarkable pace that he's showing. Those hard tyres that the leaders are on just have nothing left to give us. Justas is going to go round the outside of turn 9 up to the inside of turn 10 and 11, and he's through as well, but lost a little bit of time. He's just hanging on to the DRS of Nathan. He'll be careful though. He's well past the DRS of Nathan now, thanks to that overtake on Rocco, and Nathan's going to get some DRS himself on the back of Sweet Crown. This could be race-winning moment, a race-winning lap for Nathan with the timing of this traffic. It's played perfectly into his hands. Connor's into the pits. Cucumber and Montana stay out. But Nathan's going to get DRS here. Justas isn't going to get any. This is the lap Nathan needs to get a buffer to the Alpine that'll see him wrap up this race and force Justas to use all of his ERS and then some to catch back up. I want to see where Connor's going to come out, though, in relation to the two Alpha Tauris. Gary's coming down the straight now. He's going to be ahead of Gary, but not by that much, to be honest. Remember, Gary's already made a pit stop in this race. So the fact that Gary's only 2 seconds behind Connor just shows you how awful those hard tyres were at the end. Connor is 7.5 seconds behind Verstappen.
It looks at the moment like this is probably not the best strategy. I mean, obviously, tyres are 4 laps, depending on, of course, who pitted younger than everybody else. But it'll be really interesting to see at the end of the race if they have the extra pace. I mean, 5 laps younger mediums, yes, they're quicker. Will they be quicker to pull them in? I'm not sure. I think that might be too much. But of course, they're much better drivers than me. So if there's anybody who can do it, it's these drivers in Division 1. As Justas gets past Sweet Crown around the outside, going towards the final sector, and he takes that. And again, like you mentioned before, he's nearly 2 seconds behind Nathan now. So it could have been very much a race-winning manoeuvre that he just did, Nathan, actually, in getting that DRS. And of course, Justas not. As we see Cucumber in the pits as well in the Alfa Romeo. Let's see where he comes out. Montana not using his ERS yet either, so maybe he's going further and putting some softs on. But it'll be interesting to see where he comes out as well in relation to his teammate, because of course the undercut is massive around Portimao.
Absolutely huge. We can see that Nathan 8.5 seconds behind Montana. He's now taken 10 seconds out of the Aston Martin since he came out the pits. He's going to get some more DRS here off the back of Mohammed, and you can see how much he closes up over the crest of the hill. Is this worth a lunge for Nathan? I think it is worth a lunge. He wants to win this race. He needs to dispatch these guys quickly. And what's his gap to Justas? It's pretty much exactly 2 seconds. Now 7.7 to Montana. Cucumber has come out 2.3 seconds behind Connor, just in one extra lap, and only just ahead of Gary. Gary was in DRS of Cucumber towards turn 5. The Alfa Romeos are absolutely nowhere in this race in terms of their position on track, but they are now, in theory, going to be far and away the quickest cars on track all the way to the end of this race. You mentioned Montana might be going out for softs. If he is going for softs, he's going to have to put some old ones on, because we saw, didn't we? He did 4 runs in qualifying. So the only thing I can think with Montana is that he's going for a safety car here. And look at this little train we've got between Sweet Crown, Alp, and Campbell. Mike Campbell fancy using this to his advantage to try and get an overtake done as Alp's up the inside of Sweet Crown into the last corner. Campbell's going to get boxed in a little bit here, but he's going to have some slipstream, and he'll see ahead of him the derating McLaren, but he's derating himself, and in fact Sweet Crown might be able to get back through on the McLaren here. Contact down the straight, needless from all involved there, and could this be even further contact? And Alp and Campbell, that is a hair's breadth between them. Alp holds on. Campbell's going to get a better line through 3, up over the crest of 4. Is this worth a lunge for Campbell? Sweet Crown's got way more ERS. He had the DRS as well. And in fact, he just gets out of the way of Alp there a little bit, but he's could cause another headache. It's Alp squirming away on traction. They're making a pig's ear of this, of these two, just trying to get past this Red Bull who's on 20-lap-old tyres. Campbell round the outside. He's going to be fuming, but Sweet Crown is under no obligation to let him through, and I think Campbell will be saying some choice Scottish words there. And yeah, look at Verstappen through there. Could he send it into turn 11 on Campbell? I think he's too far back, just about, but he gets past Sweet Crown much cleaner than his QVR teammate did. But that, Campbell will, and Alp between them, absolute mess of that overtake. Absolute mess.
Yeah, they really lost a lot of time. There was good racing, good clean racing. Obviously, saw a tiny bit of contact, but like you say, they lost so much time to the guys fighting up front. I mean, Justas and Nathan are in a league of their own at the moment, but it looks like Nathan's got the better of Justas at this stage of the race, definitely. But this is what we don't want to see if you're a QVR fan, because they're not going to be gaining any time from doing that. And of course, with Connor, Cucumber and Montana on softer, on younger tyres, that's what they're going to want to see. But the guys at QVR are definitely not going to want to see that, because they're going to be pulling them in quicker.
Let's see what the gap is. So Connor's 3.2, which makes him 4 seconds behind Verstappen. That 4 seconds is surmountable between now and the end of the race, and he's going to have quicker tyres all the way to the flag. Alp is 5.6 behind Justas. These three need to get back into the rhythm they were before the pit stops if they want to keep those NSX drivers behind them, although the NSX drivers are now spread out thanks to their staggered stops. Connor 2.7 ahead of Cucumber. Cucumber 2.3 ahead of Montana. Montana has fallen back towards Spine, who pitted earlier, remember. Just 1.7 between them. Spine was 5 seconds behind Montana before the pit stop. So the early stop is worked a treat for Spine, at least in the short term. It's brought him back into play a little bit, but he has got that penalty, of course. And none of our top 9 have penalties, so thankfully it doesn't look like they're going to have too much of an impact on the results today, as it looked like the back end just stepped out there through 13 into 14 we come now. Is Campbell ready to have a lunge into turn 1? You'd think surely with the DRS and the slipstream, if he wants to have a go, he'll have a go, but he might lift off towards the end of the straight.
He's going to be absolutely hating this. He's stuck yet again between Alp and Verstappen. This is exactly what it was like before they made the pit stops. But like I say, he's got a slipstream now. He's going to try and make a move down the inside. No, he doesn't quite have the legs on it on the McLaren going towards turn 1. But yet again, status quo between Alp, Campbell and Verstappen. 3rd, 4th and 5th. He could separate them. Oh, there's a bit of a slide actually there for QVR Campbell. But once again, he's in that sandwich of the McLaren and Alp It'll be interesting to see when and how they decide to go about the racing.
Well, Connor has taken 1.8 seconds out of them since I said it was 4 seconds the gap. He passes Sweet Crown now, goes very deep into turn 5, and like those ahead of him, he's made a meal of overtaking Sweet Crown. He's been a bit of a roadblock in this race, despite the fact he's not really there on pace, but 2.1 seconds behind Verstappen. Yeah, 2.1 seconds is Connor's gap, though. He's lots quicker. And Isat's out of the race at the exit turn 4, and that's a full safety car, and that is a blessing for Sweet Crown. And it is a horror for Nathan. Nathan will be screaming in his party with QVR Campbell. I think you've got to go for fresh softs, because we've seen how good the undercut is here. If you don't pit, you're going to be like, I don't know, a turkey at Thanksgiving. That's the simile that comes to me. They've got to pit, surely. We've seen the undercut. Nathan's lost the race. Nathan's just lost the race. He had to pit. The fresh tyres are so much quicker. Alp comes in, Campbell comes in. They're all coming in. Alp gets a speeding penalty. Oh, what a shame for him. Sweet Crown's in. Cucumber staying out. Cucumber could be Nathan's guardian angel here. Montana as well. But, yeah, that Spine too. So I'm shocked about Spine. Spine pitted very early for those medium tyres. This is potentially... NSX might have just saved Nathan's race here, because that, on paper, looked like a strategic disaster from him. But I've called that before many times. I've said, what an awful strategy. And then it turns out to not be an awful strategy. Let's look at the tyres people have gone on to. Fresh softs all around, apart from Mohammed, who's on 2-lap softs. Nathan's on 9-lap tyres. 9-lap tyres. Yes, that's on brand new softs. The undercut on those will be gigantic. I don't see how he wins this race.
Yeah, I think Nathan really, he was damned if it does and damned if it didn't, really, because obviously he was the lead car. He didn't really know what to do. I think he tried to jink to go into the pit lane after he realised Justas was going in, but it was too late at that point, and he'd made the mistake. But like you say, the NSX guys really kind of giving him a bit of help, being a bit of an guardian angel. But with that said, Cucumber, of course, will want to dispose of Nathan as quickly as possible, because that was his entire aim originally, and at Montana as well. Spine on 6-lap old mediums as well. I mean, they're not the oldest tyres in the world, but it's definitely going to be an exciting end to this race to see Justas, Alp, Campbell, and the rest of the guys like Verstappen, who's just behind Mohammed as well, and Connor on fresh softs, try and get past the mediums on Spine, Montana, Cucumber and Nathan. I mean, safety car is going to be out at least another lap, because the field is very spread out. I can see a lot of the cars going through the end of Sector 1 and Sector 2. So, yeah, I think Nathan definitely will be not happy with his decision, but he's going to have to live with it now and see if he can keep these cars behind as much as possible. But as we saw a few races ago as well in China, sometimes the strategies work out when we don't think they will. So who knows what will happen here. If he can keep ahead, I'll be very surprised. But the man I'll be looking out for, of course, is Justas. But Montana will be so happy he's got his teammate in between himself and his championship rival.
Yeah, I think Spine is going to make that Aston Martin wider than any car in the history of the automobile industry, to be honest, in P4. I have seen it happen before in D2 last season, where I think it was Zandvoort possibly, or Imola or something like that. Ariel Felipe stayed out on old tyres for track position, and it was like he had a force field around him. Everyone that came close to him just took themselves out of the race. And it was like he was impregnable. He had just an invisible shield that meant if you got close to him, to overtaking him, you'd have a spin or you'd over lunge or you'd hit someone else trying to fight you. And Nathan needs some similar work done today. He needs these soft runners to trip head over heels for each other with front wings and side pods and barge board damage and all sorts behind him, spins as well, and that is his chance to save this race. We're going to get another lap, so we'll have 8 laps of racing to go when we get underway at the end of lap 25, as we await Crico and Felipe, or Crico has called up, as we wait Felipe to catch back up. And Nathan's going to be on 11 lap tyres by the time we get underway. I don't know. Are you skewing towards Nathan wins this, one of the NSX drivers wins this, or Justas, or even Alp or Campbell if there's a contact? We're going to get Montana versus Justas on track, so that's going to be one to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I think Justas realistically is in the prime seat, if I'm honest, on those softs, but at the same time, like you say, with Spine kind of making the Aston Martin as wide as possible, which I'm sure he will. And let's not forget, yes, we talk about Justas being incredible, being kind of ahead above everyone at the moment, but let's not forget he's not even leading the championship at the moment. That's Montana in P3, so Justas can't afford to make any mistakes. He can't just throw it down the inside of Spine and hope for the best and think he's just going to get out of the way. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens here. I don't, if I'm completely honest, as much as I think it would be brilliant if he did, I don't think Nathan will be able to hold off anyone, really, because the tyres are like 11 laps old now, mediums. They're ruined, those tyres. Well, Cucumber, Montana, if they can get past Nathan and he becomes a bit of a roadblock, as does Spine for Justas and co, potentially could see those drivers pull away. But if I was a driver on the grid and wanted to be in their position, I'd probably pick Justas' position at the moment on those softs in P5.
Yeah, I think you have to. If they're fresh softs, if they're scrub softs, it might be a bit of a slightly different picture. But I think Nathan, I think he'll be absolutely stewing right now. I think he'll be seeing red. I think he'll have elbows out. I think he'll be ready, one man against an army right now to win this race. He had this race in the palm of his hand. He had over a second to Justas. He was looking comfortable. The pit stops were done. He was back in the lead and ready to take it to the end of this race. He loves this track. And the fact he'll feel now this race has been stolen from him by Izzat for that collision with the wall at turn 4. Nathan will be driving angry, and I think he'll feel like he's got nothing to lose now because he'll see this race as belonging to those behind him on fresher tyres. He'll know he's probably not done the right thing by staying out. So as we get ready to go back on the way, I think Nathan will be no holds barred. He will give everything and then some to win this race. And the question is, when does he go now at the end of through turn 14? It's flat out all the way from, well, just around about where he is right now, to the line. You can't overtake until you get to the line, of course, as Cucumber's pulling right alongside Nathan there, which you're not allowed to do. Safety car's going to hit the pit lane entry line now, which means it's now Nathan's prerogative when he goes, and he's making sure that Cucumber doesn't feel inclined to pull up alongside him again by making that car nice and wide. And I think if I'm him, I'm going nice and late. You said last week that's when you'd go late as possible for the restart. I think I'm doing the same if I'm Nathan here. He's going nice and slow. He wants to catch them by surprise as much as he can. He wants to give them as less of a slipstream as he can. And he's gone now, and he pulls away, and he think he's done as good a job as he could have hoped for there. But Cucumber's within a quarter of a second here towards turn 1. Nathan will have his ERS in effect. Justas already past Spine into turn 1 there.
Great move from him getting it through. That's the move he needed to make, and he knew he had to do that, and he's not going to get in going back down the inside. He's already on the back of his championship rival. Nathan, again, kind of did the best he could there. A bit of contact further back, a bit of blanging, a bit of barging, sweet crown down the inside as well, getting into the top 10. But at the moment, like I say, Justas getting that move done. I just see Alp down the inside potentially. Oh, it's a bit of contact is there. Yes, there is, but he doesn't get the move quite done on Spine. But at the moment, Justas in P4, right on the back of his championship rival. That could be the person to watch right now for this win.
It could be. He's only a second off Nathan. He can see his rival from throughout this race ahead of him and on far older tyres. 9 lap older tyres and harder tyres. He's got every initiative, every incentive and every advantage, Justas, to win this race right now. You can see the extra grip he's got through turns 10 and 11 and then clambering over the back of the Aston Martin through turn 13. A single file through here, but I think Justas, he's got to be smart about how he uses his DRS here. His ERS. DRS isn't in effect for another lap at least. But he wants to save some to fight. As here comes Cucumber for the lead of the race, and it's a drag race down towards turn 1. Who wants to use more of their ERS? Who wants to use more of their goodies? As Justas passes Montana as well. It's a double change of position in the top 4 placings. Cucumber leads from Nathan, from Justas, from Montana, and Justas into a provisional championship lead as well as he climbs over the back of the Mercedes there, and it's all going on behind him. Spine and Mohammed side by side. Verstappen's in that as well with Connor. What is this that's going on towards turn 5? We're 3 wide into the braking zone. Verstappen gets squeezed onto the curb. Connor gets through on Mohammed just about argy-bargy. Verstappen round the outside of Spine. Sweet Crown's in that as well. He's on fresh mediums, remember. He hadn't made a stop before the safety car. But it's breathless, like Formula Ford racing in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at it now, look at Montana. He's right on the back of Justas again. Justas really struggling to get down the inside. Can he get it down the inside of the Mercedes here? Might be a bit of contact. Yes, there is. But he didn't quite get the move done. Montana is going to be picking up any of the pieces here. Of course, the championship leader. Can he go down the inside? No, he doesn't. He knows that Justas is really using everything he has right now, and hopefully he can poach him at the end. So Justas needs to get rid of this Mercedes of Nathan as quickly as possible. So slow, Nathan, now on those old mediums, because Cucumber is gone.
He's absolutely gone. 1.8 seconds at the end of the second lap after the restart. We're going to get 3 wide towards turn 1, quite possibly here. Justas passes Nathan. Montana around the outside. Justas up the inside. It's going to be who plays dare with the brakes into turn 1. I think Montana's made a double move here. He has. Fabulous from Montana. He's up into P2. He's back ahead of Justas and back into provisional lead of the championship behind them. Have we got any shenanigans into turn 3? No, we haven't. Actually, we have. Look at Spine dicing away with Marty here. Marty, who was all the way at the back, and Justas, what's he doing? Is he's fighting away with Montana into turn 5. He gets back ahead. Campbell passes Connor as well, and we've got a change of position. Marty does pass Spine. Justas back into P2. But every lap that Montana can drain the goodness and the grip of these soft tyres, the more of a chance he has to win this race.
Yeah, I think Cucumber as well. I mean, he's not pulling away too much. Looking at that, obviously they've been fighting Justas, Montana, and of course Nathan. But Cucumber up front, he was 2 seconds almost clear, and he's now only 1.3. So he must have made a mistake. But Justas at the moment, having drained all his ERS as well, he's not going to be pulling too much on the straight. Let's see if Montana can actually get alongside him. Always, yes, Verstappen, like you say, tried to go down the inside there, a bit of contact, a bit of bumping and barging with Mohammed as well. We're going around the final corner.
Oh, a lovely switchback.
Oh, it's good switchbacks there, like you say, and he's got down the inside, and he potentially, as he does have DRS as well, surely from the car in front, he should be able to do that. But Justas up front, he has got DRS now to Cucumber, so those soft tyres are really doing.
Here comes Connor. Connor's passed out. Could he make another move on Nathan as well? He saw those 2 red lights blinking away, and Connor snatches 2 for the price of 1. He takes a warning. It's going to be side by side into turn 3. Nathan versus Connor. Connor's got the tyres. He's got the grip. He's around the outside, and he's now got the inside of turn 4, and he's got P4. As we've got DRS to effect now, Nathan pops open his rear wing, but he's got no ERS to fight with. I think Connor's got that place done, as Justas half a second behind Cucumber. We've got a yellow flag. That's Maledictus at the back of the field. Nathan's now lost another place. He's down to 5th place. Out behind him has a penalty, but that's no guarantee that Nathan will be 3 seconds ahead of him at the end of the race, because Alp is on those much quicker soft tyres, and Nathan's are now 15 laps old. They're very second-hand now. It's longer than anyone did on mediums at the start of the race. He's going to be really suffering, and I said he'll be driving angry. He'll be driving absolutely furious now in 5th place with Alp and Campbell and Verstappen ready to pounce the back of him. Sweet Crown as well, even. Everyone behind him has better tyres, all the way down to Spine in 15th place.
I mean, Nathan as well. I mean, look, think about it, 6 laps ago, he was in happy la-la land at the moment, because he was so much quicker than Justas. He had everything he needed. The race was going his way, and that one error caused the issues. You see up front as well, Justas, he's going to go down the inside of Cucumber, take the lead as he goes towards turn 1, and Justas on those softer tyres takes the lead. Montana is now on the back of Cucumber as well. Let's see what he can do. As Campbell goes down the inside of Alp into turn 1. He keeps
both past Nathan
through. Oh, he's past Nathan, yeah, as well. And look at Nathan just falling like a stone. It's P7 now as well. Slight banging and barging there, as we see obviously Verstappen behind as well, and Sweet Crown. But Sweet Crown and Verstappen could be past Nathan as well in a minute if he's not careful.
Yeah, Campbell did a Montana there. He got past Alp and Nathan down the main straight. Nathan is suffering so much on those tyres. Sweetcrown's going to come out in 9-lap fresh and mediums now. They're going to be so much nicer. He could end up behind Gary here even, as Cricco passes Ben JS into P5. I do feel for Nathan. He's done nothing wrong today apart from staying out when that safety car appeared. Justas is 7/10 clear of Cucumber. We've got a yellow flag. That's Ben JS is spun at turn 7. Might have clipped the inside curb there. And Connor on the back of Montana, as you say, to channel my inner car mentalist. And as we come through turn 12 now, he's all over the back of that Aston Martin. Montana played the restart very well, but he might not end up on the podium here because just those tyres aren't working for him as well as they could do. And Connor could be nabbing P3 here off his NSX colleague. And further back, Nathan is very vulnerable to Sweet Crown this time.
Yeah, absolutely as well. I think Cucumber also giving his teammate a bit of a slipstream towards turn 1. They're still side by side, Montana and Connor, but Connor does get the move done on those fresher, soft tyres. Like you say as well, Sweet Crown down the inside of Nathan. Nathan falling again like a stone from first to 8th in 6 laps. That's not what he's going to want to see. Verstappen as well surely can get a move done in towards the hairpin of turn 5, gets the DRS. It should be done.
It should be. I apologise for the sound glitch if you're hearing what I'm hearing watching the stream. It sounds like we've got a field of Daleks out there today, but we'll make do. Justas hasn't pulled more than a second on Cucumber, which is something to keep note of with 2.5 laps to go in this race. We're just watching Nathan defend from Verstappen. He should get P6 back, should Nathan, with the 2 penalties ahead of him. The train is helping him right now, but it looks like Verstappen is still quicker. The soft tyres are still conveying an advantage over the ailing medium tyres of Nathan as Rocco sneaks through on Gary at turn 11. Gary won't be too happy about that, but I don't think there's anything he can do to fight back on this occasion at least. We'll see as we get down to the DRS straight towards turn 1. Speaking of, let's have a look at Cucumber. He is in DRS, only just of Justas, but it puts him in a good position if Justas' tyres will start to age, maybe to have a go on the last lap, and it will be the last lap and the last lap only if the Alfa Romeo is going to win this race. And Alp, yes, as you're spot on there, the inside of Campbell into turn 1. And Sweet Crown, he's been nowhere all race, but he's running nicely in P7 right now, despite his penalty. And would be on course for a very nice on-track finishing position. That long strategy on the hard tyres has paid dividends for him, minus the penalty.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's going to really ruin that penalty now as he goes towards the hairpin. Doesn't pull a move on Mercedes of QVR Nathan, but again, excuse me, not Nathan of Campbell, but Nathan once again is really under pressure now from Verstappen behind him. Can Verstappen try and get down the inside towards turn 8? No, I don't think he can. Through turn 7 now towards the hard traction corner, which is going to be killing Nathan in that 18-lap-old medium shod Mercedes-Benz. And looking at Verstappen now, he's practically pushing him through into the next set of corners. Really trying to dive down the inside. No, he doesn't. But at the moment, it looks like Nathan, who is leading the race, is going to just fall further and further behind. But Connor as well, right on the back of Cucumber now. Let's see if he can get a move done. He's got more ERS than Cucumber. Surely now, going towards turn 1, Connor will get past his teammate into P2 and put Cucumber down to P3.
Yeah, so we're entering the last lap of the race now. It's do the Alfa Romeos want to hope that they can capitalise on a tiny mistake from Justas? I don't think they can. It's going to be a position switch for the 2 Alfa Romeos. Connor takes P2. Cucumber, who looked like momentarily he could have won this race after the safety car, settles for P3. Further back, Campbell passes Alp for 5th place. He's not got a penalty, so that's an academic overtake, but the battle between Alp and Sweet Crown is very much a real one for position because they both have 3-second penalties. Sorry, no, Alp's got a 5-second penalty, ignore me. Alp is going to plummet. And yeah, Connor is right on the back of Justas. Well spotted. Through turn 5. A squirmy exit for the Alfa Romeo, but mighty fancy a lunge into turn 13 possibly.
Could happen. I mean, less than half a lap to go. This is going to be the moment now where the tyres are absolutely screaming for the drivers to see Sweet Crown and Alp fighting out. But at the front, of course, is where we want to look. Justas seems to have what he needs to get through now. But of course, the DRS won't really play much into this because it's so far down the straight. But Justas is not pulling away. He's got no ERS to play with. Connor doesn't either. Neither does Cucumber. Montana's stuck in P4. Let's see if Connor can get a slipstream towards the line. It doesn't look like he will be able to. And it looks at the moment as Sweet Crown gets down the inside once again of Alp that Justas is going to win another race this season.
Yeah, it's going to be Justas's third from 4. It could have been all 4 if the weather had gone his way at China, but he takes a fabulous victory. He played the safety car right, did Justas, and was aggressive when he needed to be. He wins the Portuguese Grand Prix from Connor and Cucumber. Montana takes a lowly 4th. Campbell is going to be 5th. It's Formula Ford across the line. Nathan 6th in the end. Verstappen 7th. As Nathan has left the session, which is DNF'd him, actually. So Nathan 6th. Verstappen 7th, Mohammed 8th, Rocco 9th, Gary's actually 10th, Marty 11th, Sweet Crown takes 12th, Kriko doesn't get a point because Nathan did finish the race. Alp, in the end, 13th him with that 5-second penalty. So costly speeding into the pit lane for him. Unlucky after a great qualifying. And again, like last week for Alp, he's not converted. This time less so his own fault. But he's not converted a great qualifying into a strong race result.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, again, you got Nathan. I mean, it's just to rub salt into the wounds as well. DNS before the line, doesn't even secure any points because he leaves the session a little bit too early, which is horrible for him. But Justas, again, what can you say about this man? I mean, he regains his championship lead, and Montana really needs to do his homework if he wants to take that back from Justas, because he just doesn't seem to have the pace, the strategy, or realistically the qualifying pace either at the moment. Justas wins. Really, really well deserved.
Yes, a fabulous win for him, and he very much now takes a hold of the lead of the championship. The 2 Alfa Romeos joining him on the podium. Oh Christ, that audio glitch is absolutely awful. Connor takes fast lap, and he'll take 19 points. But it's Justas who takes the full 25. Cucumber 3rd, Montana 4th, Campbell 5th, Verstappen 6th, Mohammed 7th, Rocco 8th, Gary 9th, Marty 10th, Sukan 11th, Kriko 12th. Everyone from Verstappen down will shift down a place for Nathan, who'll be reinserted, I presume, into 6th place. Alp 13th, Felipe 14th, Spine 15th, Malik 16th, Benjo 17th. Unless Nathan crashed before the line, if he turned his car into all, but I don't think he did he? We saw them all come across the line pretty much in synchrony. Is at 19th, and Jordan 20th. The 2 Hasses are only non-finishers. And that was, once again, an absolutely breathless, frantic, frenetic race. I love every minute of that. And this season just keeps delivering pound for pound, doesn't it? It's been epic so far. We've not had a dud race.
Yeah, we really haven't. And like every single race as well, we've had fights for the lead, we've had fights for everything. And again, Justas though, every single race he just does enough to stay in front. And it looks to me, unless someone can really kind of switch that narrative on its head, he could run away with this. We've got a few more European tracks coming up, of course. Next week is Spain. So
a sprint race, I believe.
There. Sprint race, absolutely, you're right as well. So we've got a bit of a different qualifying setup there, of course. We know that Montana does love one-shot quali, which could help him in the sprint for that round in Spain. But yeah, I mean, Justas, once again, just what can you say about the man? He just does what he needs to do and gets the job done.
Yeah, he's living his best Max Verstappen life right now. Let's see if we've got any reaction from the Division 1 chat. Isaac Kush says this track is garbanzo beans. Alp says he had a bug where he didn't have start lights, which explained a slow start for him. And anything else? Nope, nothing exciting. Yes, that says Cucumber. That made no sense. Such a stupid decision. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Montana says GG's everyone, and Gary says 3 points if we take that, which would be good if it was football, less so in Formula 1. But thank you to Oxide Nova for joining me, and thank you to myself for being here, and thank you to all of you for tuning in for another week of Division 1 action. You can hop over to Division 2 stream imminently, which is, I believe, NSX Montana, and I'm not sure if he's being joined by anybody this evening for D2. D4 was with QVR Verstappen, and then we'll be back same time, same place next week for that Spain sprint event. But until then, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure.